Hello and welcome everyone. In my last video I tested that plugin by Hornet, which the one with that tube. Yeah, what kind of tube is that? I already forgot again, but that's also not important. The only thing that is important is that it has a cool sound and that it's kind of a very peculiar kind of saturation, and it was a lot of fun. You should check it out if you like saturation. And then I finished this beat and I showed it to my friends, and one of my friends said that it's cool, but that the stereo width is weird. So I just came to think that it would be a cool opportunity for me to make a follow-up video in which I test the new plugin by Bertom called Phantom Center. Phantom Center has a very interesting description. Let's actually go to the real side of it. Holy crap, that is very light. I want a less light page. Why does it not let me? Why does it not let me make this dark? Well, anyway. That's very weird actually. I can make the real page dark, but not this one. Anyway, Phantom Center is a stereo imager plugin that works by extracting the phantom center from a stereo signal. This is not mid-side. Now this is already the part that confuses me a lot. Contrary to your usual mid-side processor, the sides components tend here to be decorrelated. So there is some correlation technique going on. Usually cross-correlation is being used in audio when it comes to things like aligning the phases of kicks together or something. You know, when you have a multi-mic setup on drums. But I don't see what it has to do with mid-side, so this is going to be interesting. Then there are filters for simple filters, the cut-off knobs. That's very straightforward. And yeah, I really have no idea what's going on here. That's kind of weird. But however, here it says, however, just splitting and recombining is lossless. So that's actually the same as in mid-side splitting, because there it is also the case that you put things from the left-right domain into the mid-side domain, and then you can apply your effect, and then you put it back into left-right domain, and if there was no effect, then it will just give you back what you had before. And this seems to be the same. So whatever process that is, it is definitely also a lossless one, which is really cool. Now about the developer themselves, it's a very cool developer. I got to know this developer because of the EQ curve analyzer, which is a very nice tool for developers to check out what their filters are actually doing, because it basically runs an impulse through your plugin. Because yeah, you make two instances, and then in the second instance it checks what happened to the impulse, and then it draws this curve based on this information. Then it has this denoiser. I have not tried that yet, and air shelves also more complicated than it looks according to its description, so I'm also looking forward to test that. But I think even from just knowing this thing, it's pretty safe to say that this developer takes their work very seriously, and I'm already looking forward a lot to this experience. Now, let's actually start doing it. But the first thing I will do is actually getting rid of this instance again and just look at the spectrum in Ozone Imager. Because when my friend told me that the mid-side content is a bit weird at times, I was not sure what they meant exactly, because I think that it sounds cool. Actually, it would make sense to have this multiband, now that I think of it. And I mean, I'm in Bitwig, so I can do it. Oh yeah. So this should also get its own imager. So this will be the low imager. This will be the mid one, and the high one. Now I think I will just keep the settings as they are, or maybe not. I want something that really resembles the range. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's just check out what happens. Yeah, I didn't see too many special things in here, except that the low end part had quite some mid-side action going on. Of course, I did not put the band down to like 100 Hertz, but more like almost 200 Hertz, so it does make sense that there is something. But it looked like it was pretty much, so this might be part of the reason why it felt weird to my friend. Also, when I tried to make it mono, I felt like it sounded almost the same, maybe even completely the same. So apparently the stereo content that is in this range is being masked a lot. So there is not a lot of actual content there that is being used by us as listeners. So there is definitely something that I can do. And yeah, now that I have a more or less of an idea, I can just go through the things and see what will happen. I think I will start with the most obvious tracks, like the kick, where I probably did not add any stereo effects, but I will just make sure that it's the case. And I will do that by having one of these instances on the master still enabled, but not the multiband one, but another one that is just for the whole track. Yeah. Okay, so I can have that down here. Can I make it a bit smaller maybe? No, it can only be made bigger. Well then, that's a bit unfortunate in my opinion. I would like to have this a bit smaller. Interesting, I cannot drag it any more into this corner. It actually snaps. Is that a Bitwig thing? It's kind of cool, but it's kind of confusing as well. Anyway, I will not solo stuff, but actually mute out the other stuff for this workflow. Okay, the kick obviously does not have any stereo stuff going on. Also the bass. So this is already as clean as it can be when it comes to mid-side processing, because there is no side. I think I want to go on with something that is not in this part. This will come at the end. I suppose that this will be the most challenging aspect as well. So now let's have the snare. Oops, that's not the snare that I wanted to have. Okay, that's also mono. I think the hi-hat is also mono. Now that I think of it, I could actually make it a little bit more interesting, but I don't think that this sound, this plugin from Bertom can actually add stereo information, but let's just find out. Maybe it can. Okay, interestingly, it definitely removes the mid signal when it's being put to -100%. So there is definitely something similar going on to mid side, but it's just something different in some way, and I still have to find out how. Now, how can I add something interesting stereo-wise to this hi-hat? I think my initial idea would be to add the plugin Freak, because it's a frequency shifter. But no, let's actually use the built-in frequency shifter from Bitwig, because I want to learn the stock plugins of this DAW some more. Now there are two different frequency shifters here, which is a bit confusing. Why is that the case? One of them is probably not the one from Bitwig. Ah, yeah, that's a different frequency shifter that I already forgot about. Oh, cool, a new version. Nice. Minor release. Yeah, I think I will try that some other time. Okay, now I have some stereo content going on. It's very subtle, but I think I will just take it. And now we actually have an opportunity to try this plugin that shows the lovely splash screen from Juice. That's interesting. In combination with the frequency shifter, it seems to add rhythm to the hi-hat, as if I had velocity steps and stuff like that. That's really interesting. I think I will actually try to utilize that. Now I'm just wondering, if I then go ahead and reduce the side content again, will I keep the rhythm but without the side? Okay. Okay, Bertom, I was able to break your plugin already. To be honest, I did that deliberately, but I was just almost sure that it would work like this, because I noticed that you programmed these to get stuck when you try to go across the other one with the filters. But it's often something that is only implemented on the GUI side of a plugin. And as you can see now that I have these controls down here, it is actually not possible anymore. And it snaps back once you click on something, of course, because then we are on the GUI side again. But yeah, it's just a little bit improvable that it can be dragged down here at all, but at least it doesn't crash then. So I guess you accounted for that edge case. Now, one of the things that I would add in this plugin, and I already can say that, is a mid-side knob or a parameter, because now that I have, actually let's use another one, now that I have some rhythm in this thing, I want to reduce the side content again and enjoy the new mid content that I received. Now let's actually put all of this into an FX layer or into a chain. It's called a chain, this container, because I wanna A/B this thing. Interesting. I did not expect the mix knob of the chain to bring back the phasing of the frequency shifter after Phantom Center has basically erased that. That is very interesting. It means that this is not something that you can easily dry wet, but it's definitely something that you can control nicely by adjusting the mix of Phantom Center and the side gain of the output. Okay, enough of that. Now let's go on with With the next sample, which is also probably not stereo. It is just this clap. I'm not sure if I want to make it stereo. Maybe I want, because this snare is already not stereo, so the clap could be. It's very hard to just forcefully come up with a way to stereoize stuff. Like sometimes you can add the harsh effect, but then it sometimes sounds whack in mono. Okay, good. Now I found a harsh effect setting that does not sound bad in mono, which is something that can be a thing, as you can see, because oftentimes people say, "Ooh, no mono compatibility, the harsh effect is bad," but it does not have to be that way. Now Phantom Centum. This is definitely not mid-side. We can hear that clearly. It really, it's like it shows, it exposes the metallic nature of the harsh effect. Even though I found a good setting, when I turn this to 100%, then I get 100% of the stuff that the people don't like about the harsh effect. Which brings an interesting question, which is what happens when I turn it down? Will it get an even smoother sound even though I used the harsh effect? Like you know, like something that washes out the bad stuff from the stereo image. That would be cool. No, not exactly. And it also has another disadvantage, unfortunately. It kinda removes the sharp transient from the clap that I really liked. It makes it a little bit too washed out. It seems to be a very advanced method, supposedly something with Fourier transform, because that is usually the case when you get the sensation that transients get washed out. I could not go very hard on this track as well. There are definitely some disadvantages to this method, even though it is fascinating and oftentimes positively surprising. Now let's go on with the organic snare, which is some extra sample that is only played sometimes. Okay, where can I put Bitwig to play in the loop? This one. Huh. Why? Ah, I think I get it. Uh-huh. This visualization really exposes the effect. I wish this plugin had a freeze button, but you can see that there is a tendency to go to the right of this graph. So when dialing in this plugin, it sort of it puts away all of these little lines and goes just to the average direction. And the more you turn it into the other direction, it does not go to the average direction anymore. And now on 0%. %0 seems to be quite normal. For the clap, I felt like it was still a change. In this one, example, I'm not sure about this anymore. So I would say that going into this direction, it's kind of highlighting sometimes the annoying parts of the signal, but also the ones that really make the character of it. And the other one kind of flattens it out in a stereo way. It's similar to how when you use Soothe, you have to decide for the compromise between soothing something to death and putting the life out of the things, but therefore getting a lot of headroom and a very smooth sound, rather than soothing very softly and letting the life in the sound, but then also dealing with ear fatigue very quickly because all these resonances are so annoying. And that's a very similar way to approach Phantom Center, in my opinion. The plugin could actually have a bit of a better label for the mix now, because it's not a dry wet mix, and that can be confusing. So there should be a dry wet mix, and this should be, I don't know how you would call that. This is definitely the correlation part. Now let's actually figure out a setting for this track. Okay, nice. Now I think the next examples are going to be more interesting, because up until now I only had samples that were mostly not intended for being very wide. But now there comes the bong head, which is a sampler instrument where I have put a sample as a melodic, slightly melodic thing, but mostly rhythmic because I'm using it as a hi-hat. And that's already a sound that I recorded with a stereo mic, as you can see in the waveform. But on top of that, it also has a reverb on it that even moves around depending on the envelope follower. Oh no, on the ADSR from the MIDI messages. So there is definitely something in here that we can have fun with. Okay, just same as in the last example, or it was not exactly the last example, but it was the one with the clap. Using this plugin kind of makes it lose some of the transient energy. So we need to combat that somehow. I think in this case I will try the chain again. Or no, was it chain? It was I think it was chain, whatever. Might be chain or not. Yes, I think yes. Yeah, so that's also a sound where I cannot go too hard on, because it's I just love the transients on all these percussive sounds, and I'm just someone who often takes it easy and just slaps the reverb right on the same track instead of using a send, because I just like to have a nice easy life and a good workflow and everything. But of course then I get problems like this, that I cannot easily use a plugin that reduces the transient energy, and that's also my own fault, I know. But what can I say? I just like to work that way usually, but I would say if I was in a setting now where I have more tracks in here that are actually melodic, harmonic, or maybe vocals, then I would really like to know what it does. And especially with reverb sense, it could be that it's actually really cool. Now, fortunately, we have one example in this project that acts a little bit less percussive, which is this track. Which is a sample from an album, which is a very good album, you should listen to it. And then reverb and some different stuff. Oh yeah, saturation, a bit of gain for sidechaining. Now, so this is not percussive, so we don't have to be so careful about our transients here. So this should be a great opportunity to use Phantom Center. Okay, wait. That's probably not because of Phantom Center, but something weird is going on with my side chaining. Okay, that's kind of weird because when I had this project open the last time, I had the same settings, but it sounded differently, so I'm not sure what changed in the meantime. But I don't want to waste everyone's time with that now. So let's just check out what this plugin does. Now that's weird, because in some of the more percussive examples it was kind of like the annoying stuff was on the right side. I felt like that was the one that that puts more attention to the weird resonances of something, while this was going more neutral. Now it's kind of the other way around, that all the melodic stuff is on this side. And it's also very nice averaging out into the middle. And now on the other side there is all the bulky stuff, which is probably the stuff that my friend meant when he said that it kind of feels weird in the stereo field. Now I'm wondering what happens if I put this before the multiband effects, because there are some saturation plugins in there, and if I get the bulkiness out of the stereo field before it saturates, then maybe it saturates in a nicer way. Now interesting, it really removes some of the eccentric energy of this thing. This makes me think maybe it is actually a great effect in multiband. I mean, why not? It's if it's already cool in single band, then it can only get better in multiband, can't it? Oh, wait. For the low end thing, I just want to remove all of the side content. That's cool. Now I can make it more eccentric on the high end and less eccentric on the mid-range where it seemed a little bit bulky, and then try to mix them back together again. I think that really helped. I'm not sure if it was that my friend meant, but maybe it was. Now let's go to the master track, because obviously we always want to test if something is cool on the master bus. And there I will make an instance of Bertom Phantom Center and just check what happens. Sounds very mysterious. I think I would actually use this on the master bus if I was making music for a science fiction video game or something, like, you know, something in space, far in the future, in a bar with jazz and jungle beats, and then suddenly I would dial in the Phantom Center and it would go like maybe a nice sound design tool for neuro-based tracks as well, unfortunately I'm not much of a neuro-based person when it comes to production, so I cannot test that for you, but that's just something where I would see this right now. So I will not use this on the master bus. What was this? Oh, that was just my images. I can put them away again and enjoy the resulting beat. And my conclusion for this plugin is it's probably really cool. I have not checked, I was not able to check for what I guess is the probable best use case of this, which is send tracks and other vocalish stuff. But when you apply it to complex tracks like the master bus, it can get a little bit weird because it sometimes decides to bring stuff into the foreground and then it suddenly decides to bring something else into the foreground. And it seems to bring in some sort of inconsistent feel, which I have no good feeling about when it comes to the master bus. But it's really cool on smaller buses where you can actually carve out some subtle information from your music, like all of the other tracks. So that's definitely something that I will keep on using, and it's still a fascinating tool as well.